Hello and welcome back to round 2 of Meet the Ferrets. So this is Kreacher. Kreacher is about 3 years old. We're not 100% positive on his age. He is the sable, which is the original color I really wanted when I first decided I wanted a ferret. And the reason we ended up with Kreacher, and the reason we do not know his age, is because we actually got him off of Craigslist. We were not searching for another ferret. We had the 3 at the time, and my husband came home and showed me a Craigslist ad that his assistant manager at the time showed him. And he said we didn't need a 4th ferret, we're not getting a 4th ferret. Yet he showed me a Craigslist ad for a sable ferret, which he knew I really wanted. So he knew we were getting a ferret. Who was he kidding? So sure enough, we ended up with him. It was a very long conversation that I actually had with the girl that was selling him. I actually got very excited at the beginning because I was getting the sable I really wanted, and he was so adorable in his pictures. And but it took a very long time to actually finalize things with her. She was very busy at the time, and I kept thinking things were gonna fall through, and it was kind of hectic dealing with it all. But in the end, we ended up with Kreacher. Kreacher actually had a different name at the time, and I could not tell you what it was. I think it was something from some type of anime, and I don't really follow anime, so I don't remember what it was. But because our first 2 were named after house elves of Harry Potter, he had to be a house elf as well. So he got to be Kreacher. Kreacher was a boy in Harry Potter, so he at least was the correct gender. When we got him, she did say that they were pretty sure he was about 2 years old. She originally said that they had paperwork for him with vaccination records and birth certificate, but when we got there, it miraculously all disappeared. So we just kind of took her word for it and assumed he was about 2 years old and just got him revaccinated and all kinds of fun stuff. So that is his story of how he came to be. Kreacher feature is pretty playful with the other ferrets, not super playful with toys, doesn't usually steal very many things. He's not quite as laid back as Hokey Pokey, but he definitely still has his own unique personality. He is the digger in the group. He loves to dig. So we'll definitely catch him digging at the carpet. He may have allegedly put a hole or 2 in the carpet because he's a naughty boy, aren't you? When we go out, he loves to dig in dirt, so he definitely is a huge fan of digging in the dirt. His nickname, we usually call him, is Kreacher Feature, and we will usually we'll sing the Jeepers Creepers song to him. I don't really know how that came about, it just did, so it's kind of his thing. Kreacher loves to lick people. That is kind of one of his things. He likes to lick Daddy's face a lot, so that's something that's special to him. He also loves to try new foods. We try to get the ferrets sometimes to eat meat. Since they are carnivores, meat's great for them. I'd prefer to get them to eat raw meat. They're very fickle when trying new foods, but he actually will sometimes take human food. So if we have a piece of chicken or something, he can be pretty adventurous and will actually try it. But I think that's all. That's everything about Mr. Kreacher Feature. Say goodbye. All right, number 4. This is Hagrid. Hagrid is our newest ferret. We ended up getting Hagrid after our first ferret, Dobby, ended up passing away. We actually saw Hagrid in the pet store quite some time ago. And when we saw him, we actually really liked him. But we always made the commitment and rule that we have a 4 ferret rule. 4. Because we go camping and because we go hiking, anything beyond 4 ferrets would probably just be way too difficult. My husband has 2 hands, I have 2 hands, so we can each carry 2 ferrets. It makes it easy when we're chasing them around, when we do let them play on the ground, and just carrying them in general. So a 5th ferret it would be an odd number. So we really did like him when we saw him, but 5 ferrets would have been too much. After losing Dobby, we kind of made the irrational decision of quickly adding a 4th to our group. And we were gonna go to 3 different pet stores to check out ferrets to see if any of them would be a good fit for us, because we weren't just gonna pick any old ferret. We wanted to make sure one had a great personality, because all the ferrets that we have amazing personalities. So we checked out the first place and none of the personalities were really great. The second place we went to, they had only 1 ferret, and somehow surprisingly it was still him. He had been there still for quite some time. They originally had him and I think it was his brother. And his brother had sold a couple months prior. And I guess after, problem with having 2 ferrets is if one passes or something happens to the second one, so like a pet store sells them, they bond so closely that the last one left can become very depressed. They said he wasn't eating very well and had some other issues, and I mean, we kind of already fell in love with him months prior when we first met him, so it was obviously meant to be, and he came home with us like immediately. So that was that. He is the youngest of the bunch. He is just under a year. I believe he's probably like 10 months old now. I'd have to do the math, but I think he's about 10 months old now. And I don't know how well you can tell in the video, but he is actually way bigger than the other boys. That is because I learned after getting him, we were actually very worried that he was way overweight. The pet store was actually worried he was overweight. And I was doing some research because I was trying to figure out how I was going to manage, basically trying to get him to lose weight and deal with the other ferrets, because ferrets are supposed to free feed, meaning they have food all the time unless you feed them a raw diet. But because they have kibble, I keep it in a cage for the rest of the boys, so I couldn't not keep or give them food all the time and limit his food. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. But in my research, I found there are 2 different types of ferret body structures, I guess you can call it. And they're both named after types of dog breeds. I think I would call it your more common, because it's the type I've always seen is your Whippet style, and like Whippet dog breeds, they're a lot skinnier and like frail-like, and that is what our other ferrets are. And then you have your bulldog type ferret, who just like bulldogs are much more bulkier, and you'll see like his nose is not as long and skinny as the other guys, but he's definitely much more bulkier. So after all that research, I'm glad I found that out, because then I learned he's not fat. He's supposed to be that way. He's just our little chunky boy. And that is actually the reason he got his name. After naming the 4 boys, they were named after the 4 house elves in Harry Potter. And if you read the books, there are only 4 house elves that are actually mentioned in the books. So we're obviously out of house elf names. I really wanted to keep the Harry Potter theme if we could, and he actually went probably 2 weeks without a name, and we may have allegedly been calling him Chunky and Fatty as a nickname for those 2 weeks, because we couldn't come up with a name. It just, nothing seemed right for him. And I'm a horrible Harry Potter fan. I actually went to Facebook and I kind of told people the story and kind of about our naming, on how we named the other ones and how we couldn't come up with a name for him. And I'm a horrible Harry Potter fan, because when someone suggested what we actually named him, I should have just guessed it myself. I don't even know why I didn't even think of it. But Hagrid from Harry Potter is the half giant character. So because he is giant compared to the rest of them, it just fit perfectly. So I can't remember who suggested it in the Ferret Facebook group, but thank you. I know some people in the Ferret Facebook groups watch our videos, so if you are one of them, thank you. But he is Hagrid. It fits him perfectly. One of his nicknames is, we do call him Haggy. We don't call him Fatty or Chunky anymore, because obviously he's not, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to put my finger in your mouth. Because he's obviously not fat or chunky. We just call him Haggy for short. He's definitely got quite the personality himself. He's also a licker-like creature. He loves to lick Daddy's beard and mustache. He loves to do that. He loves to swim. We were camping, his first camping trip, first time really being outside. We were walking on these rocks on the beach of Lake Superior, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's a really, really big wavy lake on Michigan. on the shores of Lake Michigan, and he just slid on in. I can actually link a link up to the video, because I had that on video of when he did that. It was, I can't believe he did it. So he likes water. He's our little water boy, even more so than Winky. So he's definitely very, very brave, very, very outgoing. He is playful. He chases toys sometimes, probably not as much as Winky. He does like to play carpet shark, like your typical ferret, and will chase toes and nip at them. He does like to do that. I'm not 110% on what you'd categorize his color. He's a little dark to be a champagne. I don't think he's red enough to be a cinnamon. He might, I don't know, he's darker than what Hokey is, so he's not really a chocolate. So I'm not actually 110% positive on what his exact colors are. So if you actually have a guess on what you think his coloring might be considered, leave a comment, because coloring sometimes can be very difficult in naming colors for ferrets. So I'd love to hear other people's guesses, because we don't know exactly what you are, do we? We do not. Adventurous wise, I would say Hagrid took over kind of Dobby's spirit, because Dobby was definitely the adventurer of the group. He was fearless. Hagrid is pretty fearless. For all of his, I mean, we just got him in October, and for just seeing, because I'm sure he'd never seen the outside, outdoors, or anything before that. I mean, first camping trip, he slid into Lake Superior to go swimming, no problem. We went hiking and took him in the leaves, and he was squirming through the leaves and had so much fun scuba diving through them. He just saw snow for the first time, and he just was scuba diving through the snow, and I mean, that could have been terrifying, couldn't it have? But no, he loved it. So he's definitely our little adventurer at heart. And what are you trying to do? You trying to go adventure somewhere? Where are you trying to go? I don't know where you're trying to go. But I think that is kind of, I think that covers everything about Mr. Hagrid. Alright, so today you got to meet Hagrid and Kreacher. If you enjoyed their video, please give them a thumbs up. And to get notifications on more pet videos, please subscribe to our channel. I plan on doing Meet the Pet videos on the rest of our pets. We have the 2 dogs that I do a lot of videos on, and what a lot of people don't know is I do have 1 cat and 5 parrots that I plan on doing videos on as well. So after you subscribe, hit that little bell and it'll turn on notifications, and you can learn more about the rest of our pets. Goodbye!